Large Sishi Zuji, Consal Haminamde, Kamsum Chugi Jabo, Satin Yedon Zogi, Nada, Pugilana Mebuti, Chino Consajam Chumbucholia, Kujang on the Pune. Teride, Minnesota Purichidin Sobegi, Kodi Walia, Ranzo Pemi, Manzo, Union Natal, Longo, Ngabjung Abdu, Corbett Zegotolia, Pebe, Tasham Tugucho, Gegen Chamo, Tenzi Chiminola, Shungshap Surbanamba. Perigidin Sobegi, Tozubi Gule, number ta, any Mima Tamalolia, Nye Tambo, some detached less Chishui. That the rate and the Delia Samegi, Kinse Reta, Tering on the dead Zomadi, Manzo de Jin, Sunzi Chedulia, Zomde or Sonsa, Tandechalianga, Denema, Mimalia, Kaloche, Keje Shegwag, Nedandi. Chithue Mingji Bichani Chade or Sonsa, Soso Ranging, Jik Tanda Padolia, Dodangi Chanere, Suzuki, Samlokitangi Tonere, Lalengi Tone, Energy Kawaii Kadu Imbine, Dikshidan, Drumshidan, Dikzulia, Tzachimbutsing, Kansachi, Imba Sonsa, Tandechalia, Chithue Mingji Yobredin, do any Teretambudelia, Pima Chidilhenzoki, Manzu Tujengi, Tanda. Sundi de ma Trojan Shu Chobachi Shui, and they are any cursore. Tare that Namjung, that number Suki, Tuna, Junior, Manchechi, Nepunalia, Lord de Gu, and Tare and the Delia Tangazo, Kashagi Sundi, Trojan, Simbre, Sonza, any Kasha that Pimima Chidilhenzoki, Sundi, Tachik, Chunza Kashema, Dochi Manchechi, Cursore, Chiquachade or Sonza. The Punalia Dojan Simbre, any ether dinama, any cursore, Injiton ma, then the Dojan Shu Chobaches, Jishui, any Tachik Mima, Chap Chelia, Chap Tueki, Samlo Kibetoni, the Institute. Statement of the Tibetan Parliament in exile on the occasion of the 57th Tibetan Democracy Day. Today is a day of unique importance when we mark the completion of 57 years since the establishment of the democratic path in the running of the Tibetan people's political system. His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the most exalted Bodhisattva of the Lotus-holding manifestation and the champion of world peace, had, though of a tender young age, assumed the supreme temporal and spiritual leadership of the snowland of Tibet. And not long after having done so, His Holiness undertook visits to the neighboring countries of China and India. And having been greatly inspired by the democratic system prevailing in India, His Holiness sought to reform the political system of Tibet so that it too will conform to the requirements of such a system. Unfortunately, it became impossible for him to carry out his noble wishes because Tibet was invaded by the armed forces of the Communist Chinese government. In addition, the ever-worsening situation in Tibet became such that His Holiness the Dalai Lama himself was left with no choice but to escape his homeland in 1959. More than 80,000 Tibetan people followed in his footsteps to flee into exile. Immediately after stepping foot on Indian soil, His Holiness the Dalai Lama established a newly central Tibetan administration, and along with it, a Tibetan parliament in exile with its members constituted from Tibet's different religious traditions and the 3 historical provinces of Tibet. And so on the 2nd of September 1960, the first Tibetan parliament in exile was inaugurated with its members formally taking their oaths. The event also marked the establishment of the noble path of the democracy for the Tibetan people and is rightly recognized as a historic day. In the year 1961, a gist of the Constitution for a Free Tibet was published, and in 1963, the Democratic Constitution of Tibet was proclaimed. Later in the year 1991, the number of members of the Tibetan Parliament in exile was increased. Along with it, the Parliament was made a true lawmaking body. During that year, the members of the 11th Tibetan Parliament in exile debated and adopted the Charter of the Tibetans in exile, to which His Holiness the Dalai Lama duly granted his assent. Since becoming a true lawmaking body that year, the Tibetan Parliament in exile has discussed and adopted some 27 legislative acts, as well as rules and regulations, and has also been making amendments to them as and when needed to this day. In the year 2001, as long-standing wish and ordered by His Holiness the Dalai Lama, calling for the Khalun Tipa to be directly elected by the Tibetan people, the 12th Tibetan Parliament in Exile amended the relevant laws and related rules and regulations at its 11th session. The system of direct election of the Khalun Tipa by the Tibetan people through universal franchise was thus established. In particular, in the year 2011, keeping in view the current and long-term interests of the Tibetan people, and after appraising a multiplicity of pros and cons and the reasons underlying them, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, in an extraordinary act of broad-mindedness, made unequivocally clear his intention to devolve all his historical, political, and administrative powers to the leaders elected by the Tibetan people themselves. Accordingly, a special session of the 14th Tibetan Parliament in Exile was held, and the 25th Amendment of the Charter of the Tibetans in Exile passed. And in a follow-up to this development, the 15th Tibetan Parliament in Exile discussed and adopted amendments to the relevant acts as well as rules and regulations during its second session. Through developments such as these and on the basis of the relevant legislative acts and rules and regulations adopted by the Tibetan Parliament in Exile, the guidance and wishes of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the savior of the Tibetan nation and people, and their symbolic representative were fully implemented. The result of this has been that the leaders elected by the Tibetan people assumed full responsibility in carrying forward all aspects of the functioning of the Central Tibetan administration in keeping with democratic principles. The Tibetan democracy is particularly a special one, for it has been gifted by His Holiness the Dalai Lama with great ingenuity of method and compassion, and has evolved on that fundamental basis. All Tibetan people in general, but especially those living in exile, have been in continuous enjoyment of their democratic rights. In particular, we would like to appeal to all Tibetans to uphold with great importance the duties that are inherent in each of them at one's individual level by giving primary importance to the greater good of the Tibetan society, acting with solidarity to bring forth the collective strength of the Tibetan people to an ever higher level. This has become more imperative now than ever before. Concerning the situation of the Tibetan people living under the oppressive rule of the government of China, there is no question at all of talking about democratic rights. They are totally bereft of even those freedoms that are inalienable to all humans, such as the freedoms of movement, speech, and expression, religion, language, protection of one's culture, and so on. Under the Chinese rule, the Tibetan language, the very basis of the Tibetan ethnic identity and culture, is getting decimated with the implementation of what China calls its common language policy for the whole country. Because of it, the Tibetan people living under the Chinese rule are carrying out enormously praiseworthy deeds with great courage and determination to halt the decline and to preserve the Tibetan language and culture. We offer our admiration to them for their efforts. We, the entirety of the Tibetan people, living in freedom in other countries, whatever our means and circumstances may be, should never engross ourselves in our own immediate personal concerns and interests, and instead pay ever greater attention to the learning, use, and promotion of the Tibetan language. This has become a matter of utmost importance, for it is concerned with the fundamental question of whether the Tibetan ethnic identity and culture will survive on this globe or not. Since the 27th of February 2009, till date, it has been clearly learned and confirmed that a total of 149 Tibetan people had self-immolated in protest against the government of China for the cause of the Tibetan nation and people. They or their remains were almost seized and taken away by the Chinese armed police force or the Chinese army. Those who survived were later tried and given jail sentences. Among them were Kirti Monastery's monks, Lobsang Gyatso, Lobsang Kelsang, and Lobsang Kunchok, Recent reports suggest that these 3 monks had been released from prison. However, apart from a mere mention of the fact that Lobsang Kunchuk's right leg has been amputated, there is neither clear information about the torture and beating suffered by them during their imprisonment, nor about the physical condition of these monks after their release. In view of this situation, we feel it necessary to let the government of China know that it should bear full responsibility for the physical well-being of all the surviving Tibetan self-immolators. To the wider outside world, we appeal to the governments, those supporting the issue of Tibet, and independent human rights monitoring groups to seek to meet with those survivors or to find out about their health conditions and make deliberate efforts to find proper treatment for them outside the People's Republic of China. Likewise, in the year 2007, Andu Lobo, a nephew of former Tibetan political prisoner Rongge Adak, was released at 11 p.m. on 21st of August 2017 on completion of his 10-year jail sentence. However, it has still been not possible to find out about the health condition of this former religious chantmaster of Litang Gwenchen. Besides, the government of China continues to subject political prisoners in Tibet to untold torture and beating, as well as criminal trial and imprisonment and other forms of persecution in gross violation of all the canons of the international law. Freedom House, a human rights based in Washington, D.C., has in its annual survey of political rights and civil liberties for 2016 concluded that among the 18 countries with the poorest record during the year, all aspects of the Buddhist canons of teaching, practice, and contemplation of the religiously immersed Tibetan monks and nuns. And it has set limits on the enrollment number of monks and nuns in the monasteries and nunneries, thereby curtailing the Tibetan people's religious freedom. It has also reduced all aspects of religious activities of the monks and nuns in those places of religious study and worship to mere showpiece meant to cater to the entertainment needs of the visiting tourists. Thus, all places of religious study and worship, large or small, in Tibet have been transformed by the government of China into a sort of market commodity meant to earn revenue for the government. In this connection, while Secretary of State, while releasing the U.S. State Department's annual International Religious Freedom Report for 2016, Secretary of State Mr. Rex Tillerson made it clear in his introductory remarks that China was among the countries in this world with the worst record of respect for religious freedom of its citizens. He was also emphatic in pointing out that while denying religious freedom in Tibet and other regions, China has also been persecuting the people in those regions through launching of all sorts of campaign actions. Ever since the Chinese occupation of Tibet, the incessant campaigns introduced in Tibet that grossly violates human rights and trample on the human decorum, such as cultural revolution, has propelled the continual existence of the Tibetan religion, culture, and people into uncertainty. Recent campaign of education activities with special focus on implementing the 4 stresses and 4 loves has subjected the minds and conducts of the Tibetan nomads, farmers, youths, students, monks, and nuns to an involuntary conditioning and conformation to the communist Chinese ideologies of protection of the unity of motherland. Such propagandist campaigns in Tibet condemn the Tibetans in perpetual darkness, devoid of freedom of thought, movement, and religion, including the mineral exploitations and clearing of whole forest lands. The government of China remains in continuous plunder and destruction of Tibet's natural environment beyond all limits. Ongoing destructive projects, especially the copper mining activity at Dine in the Amye Machen mountain range, the destruction of the gateway to Horsang, Nyagong, Dakar Kando, Podang, the mining and cutting away of coal, the setting up of an aluminum plant and other projects near the Qinghai Lake, all of which severely damage the local natural environment while also bringing untold hardship on the livelihood of the local population. In the name of bringing economic development to Tibet, China has launched in Tibet a campaign called Striving to Make People Rich and Region Prosperous, and uses that as a pretext to explore the territory for mineral resources wherever they could be found. Chinese entrepreneurs have been making huge investments to set up projects and businesses. As a result, the local Tibetan people are denied of all the opportunities to develop their own ethnic territory. All the opportunities to explore and extract Tibet's natural resources and minerals, to undertake construction projects, to carry out road construction works, and so on, are wrested from local Tibetan by Chinese entrepreneurs who come from regions outside of Tibet. In Sok County of Nakchu Prefecture in Tibet Autonomous Region this year, the Chinese government coerced the local Tibetan people to celebrate August 1st, the Army Day of the People's Republic of China, with the additional demand that during the celebrations marking the occasion, the participants must wear costumes made from furs of endangered wild animals. In particular, in an unprecedented move, China has embarked on projects to build railway tracks in parts of Tibetan border areas, irrespective of any question whether concerned neighboring countries were agreeable to them or not, while also making large-scale deployment of its troops in those areas. What all this clearly shows is that, like in the case of Tibet, which it annexed through armed invasion, the Communist government of China still continues to foster an ulterior motive of annexing territories of neighboring countries. During celebrations on the 1st of August this year, marking the 90th anniversary of the founding of People's Liberation Army of the Communist Party of China, President Xi Jinping said in his speech that during times of emergency, the role of the army is to protect the authority of the government. In this connection, he stressed, among other things, that when supporters of democracy in the country staged protests on the Tiananmen Square in 1989, the People's Liberation Army crushed them with violence and great bloodshed to drive home this point. What all this indicate with emphatic rising certainty is that the government of China is moving towards strengthening the sustainability of the Communist Party policy and the intensity of repression in the country with this in mind. The Congress of the United States and likewise representatives from the European Union have expressed strong concern over issues such as the absence of basic human rights for Tibetans in Tibet, and urged the government of China to make efforts to resume talks with representatives of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Recently, a delegation led by the Deputy Speaker of the Tibetan Parliament in exile visited the Indian Parliament in New Delhi. The delegation met with a number of Indian parliamentarians and appealed them to seek support for the issue of Tibet. And members of the Indian Parliament have promised to raise parliamentary support for the issue of Tibet, as well as seek support from the different political parties. Nevertheless, in short, it is ultimately us, the Tibetan people, who has to bear the main responsibility to carry forward the struggle for our just cause. Thus, it is of great importance that we preserve our ethnic virtues, making sure to carry them forward without any sort of degeneration. This year has seen a major earthquake in Zisa Daegu region of Ngaba in Tibet, while floods have hit Indian states such as Himachal Pradesh and Gujarat, as well as Nepal and other places. These catastrophes of nature have resulted in great losses in terms of deaths and injuries. The Tibetan Parliament in exile is greatly saddened by such tragedies, and we pray that such catastrophes may never occur again. We take the opportunity offered by this occasion to express our solidarity to the concerned families, to all the governments, parliaments, organizations, and individuals who have supported the just cause of the Tibetan people, and in other aspects, especially to the central and state governments of India and the Indian people, we offer our grateful gratitude, heartfelt gratitude. Finally, we pray that His Holiness the Dalai Lama may live for 100 eons and may all his wishes be fulfilled with spontaneity. May the just cause of the Tibetan people resolve in all speediness. By the Tibetan Parliament in Exile, September 2nd, 2017. Tuchana, tatanda nge chikchana jaw tayo do chikchana ring tayo ryo do tayimbi ne ta nge samlo di tajin kondo kasha gi di pyu na to jan shna ta nge ki injina chi chebe na ta nganzo chik karso ore chapcha ji chungna sambe gi samlo to ne ya susu gi tanda di to jan shubi inji to ne ya ta chik tuben sewe gi rawa shugu yo ani ta de da nyam to liya ta tare tanda de chik karso ore ta kogop jin susu gi ta chikashe ji shuna samde bre chidane ta tanda kasha gi sungtin re pemima chidil henzo gi sungtin na lo ya ta nganzu gi mangzu gi chungrim mangzu gi perim da drebe to ne ta shibshin tha ba ji ye de ba re din du kal ya da di kal ya nge mixe gi khanen shu go ke mendu imbe ne ta nganzu ya mangzu de geji chen yong da mandawe gi mangzu chi ta tajin thanda sungtin du na ya ye ban shin ki gyawrum che gi ta tuji chilab gi nganzu chi zo na lo ya mangzu ye de ba ji re sonsa ta nganzu chi zo na lo ya mangzu ye de ba di gyawrum che gi sore na ba re sonsa nganzu ngue ne mangzu chi zo che da dem ba ji so go ya di ngaran zu chame gi gen chimbu hal lebe gi gen chimbu yore sam gi di ndu ka liya chi zo na lo ya ngaran chu gi samlo re tawa re mangbu chi yong si ba re di yong chog re yong go ge re 직 걸서 오래 지조 직 차수부도 야고 용야 된다리야 임비네 다 네디 뷰이나리아 단다 차단지 야고 요르토기 වෙන면 인진낭로리아 셰스이 지어레 we agree to disagree siech nganzo medin machialya medin chigi siech ta ngedi dada de වෙන면 주려야디 이네 인진낭로리아 we agree to disagree siech ore 디 망주 지조기 낭로리아 미망기 섬로낭로리아 고야디 수수기 내가 전부 쉬고 레섬기요 딘데지 삼로 매비나 삼로 키단 딘데지 매비나 애니 지조 나로리아 나다 최기 내단지 정신기 차인 거래 지조 나로리아 나다 최기 내단지 중 사베 젤리아 지조 나로리아 텐린 매바 지조 나로리아 린자 매바 엔 지조 나로리아 녀라 정신기 차디 그래 딘디 딩에바도 다테링에데 고급디 주니 삼로리아 디슈나 삼브레 딘디갈리아 nganzungene 망주 천den치 다 간제 전주 나로리아 다 별 나로리아 망주 매버디 용다레 다 전주 나로리아 nganzungene 망주 천den치 뒤도 넘버고도 망주 락다르 제제 녜 삼로리아 중망 아란주 수수 롱벌리아 로친베캅리아 변할 예배 아란주 샤라직베 프리핀도 촐리아 nganzungene 레게 피어 약쇼디 콘솔리아 망주들이 겨울음부지 쇠레 나시베 망주디 별이야 레베캅리아 망주기 조다 망주기 람루 망주기 직 치다 제고 남섬 디게 딩어 중간 변나 예병 아란츠기 빈도 철이야 레게 피어리 디디 디 마피 관리양 중간 델야 차데 덴바 소고에디 수승은이야 내가 전부 레섬고도 디 마치비나 아니 치조 나로리아다 랑신기 강에지 차잉구리 손자 다 다지 거소레 순딘도 나로리아다 다지 시번은 시리 십다 예대버치레 엔타레 고급디 주인의 수수기 단다 삼주직 디슈나 삼브레 가샤기 송진 나로리아 단다 카세위시 위지 코나샤 다 지조 나로리아 지조 타게 유니다 직 망소 나로리아 투신기 망소 나로리아 카르소레 칙디 도시다기 레가 돈주 자원이니 야고 마레 디 게밀 고야기 레가 레세체 세우티 소나샤 디인디 디 다렌소소기 고급디 유니 디간리아 치 카르소레 나버솔리아 양자치 손뎁시나 삼데요 지조 타자 세정도 라베칼이야 지조 타자디 할레베기 내가 첨부리 상메 캥기오레 딘두칼이야 지조 타자기 유닝 언저 내주 차베 제던조 다다 등상 뒤즈도 템베토네 언저 레규페아레 세라체레 던조 할레베기 내가 첨부단 케멘 첨부지 차데오레 임비네 망츠 지조 나로리아 톱단 요레 톱단 여번시기 겐야 여데버치 and hakba to nganzu peba jimbe chane da ngadaw jimbi na delia ariki mise email matebe ki soso ki samlo dan soso ki ledon chijo de kadu imbi ne kyapche waji in sambe ki samlo tone ngal ya lungba menge mi chi nge phayu nanglo ya nge chikarso gore pinda so nyang de yo sambe ki samlo tone Tibetan number kundu soso ki shajo chide gyo soncha mangzu chizo nanglo ya topdan yobane shiki gen ke chumbu rela hakba to nganzu peba solya topdan le hakba gen di re samgyo soncha gen di khibe thone chizo nanglo ya leden khari chigi yobene ta nyebe chane ngaranzu chizo thage gang ya ta chik megi chikarso gore nechu khari pegi yobene nechu dige del ya soso ki chaba yago chebe thone cheba chebe thone soso ki nechu di ta jajo jatamba yago du di jabjo chigi chizo ya pen thosa re sambina and di chabe chea ta any Facebook ta ngodep donjon ali imbene del ya gata jabya re like share re chain share re comment share re khari imbene na shabin digyo re kesi dinde jimebi na nechu chegi nechu khungden mai bacheche hakpa tu ngaranzu phebe chizo nanglo liya any chigdil ya thorshi ta gi nechu khungme gi nechu dinde pegi yobe na donzo liya chime ta che tabo maja cheche gata maja we ta chen maja we ta di dagaran liya yukshare hakba tu yawron buche da debe thone ngaranzu shung da debe thone nechu mai ba khungden mai ba dinde pe yong yobe na donzo liya ngazu tabo maja ne yukshare ma to kabre nge tona dos tona chebe kabya any nganzu ngone Kuranzuki goyagi miyudi dagaran dugudu. Iya susuki ngoni ya nezu del ya tachikdu gagba yore tachikdu ngo yorte imbi ne ta midigi dinde cheshasche ya susuki ngode kwan ya ma tam ya mina karso gore chik tanda wheelchair ta karina tam gi bene dinde ma tam che ani nezu di chap chero ta di Kuranzuki miyure di ngadurangi chidegdu sonza nge karishugu yos labina juma social media ganglo ya chizo taje gang ya nezu yoba di mimal ya 배 집을야 팽기도 하면 돼. 배 댄스일야 팽기도 하면 돼. 대 야워로 뭐체일야 팽기도 하면 돼. 배 숑일야 팽기도 하면 돼. 대 삼로 시샤베토네 대 팽기 여비는 될야 딱 보자야다 될야다 오늘 가져 누바 직 체로 땅토고도 디 배전치고야 레마도 될야 팽기 매비나 될야 딱 보마자 체체 찌메라 땅체 샤샤비나 디 약셔드리샤 디 수수응은이야 데레단다 고급디 주니야 쉬어 대바 총스 아니 단다 다직 송tin Kashagi Suntin Dozonalia Rimbe Yovana Shire, Tachizona Lolia, Cabre, Yauramachelia, Tachi Karsore, Semeshu, Ginesu, Nungshichire, Tatambushabina, Nungshichire, Donzolia, Tenga Sosung, Tozona Lola, Chikarsore, Jabosalia, Tachi to Gaba Yoscheche, Sevo Shudeyu. Imbine, Susungene, Onzuchizona Lolia, Karsore, Rangzen, the Umas Labgiyobine, da, Yan Yauramuchel, Gitan, Pejotanche. Kabra yang chizo nang lo ya ani jawron bochel ya soso modo shemba teba me re dong do gi namju gi thone choba gi thone chizo nang lo ya dabsin ta gi ne dan de yong de gi yore di changme king gi yor di ndi kal ya dige di changme gi sabsa nang go di ke chambu shu re sam gi yo nge sam lo ya jawron bochel che jang zo la be kal ya jaja gupchu go da cha go 99.9% pheba chue ki jawron bochel ya ichel lo te ta jagji chongji re this semde chawnyen yor sam gi me Dindukalia, young, I Yaurumbuchelia, Tabashu, Yodondo, Kinzu Yomare, Dondo, Ding Ekeshabin, Tsawin, Tata, Degiomarella, Dindegi Ketching Chizon and Lol Yebina, De, Tsawin, Tata, Degiomar, Dindu, Montu Samlokia, the Karikudus Labina, Yaurumbuches Labekabia, Pimisai to Utide. Said the Gini Gicamneri, on the Savela Machaderi. Dindukalia, Yaurumbuchelia, Habaching, Antulia, Medabachi, Yondarti. Dindukalia, Yaurumbuche, Yanchik, Saint Pejo, Lobatan Betone, and Chizon and Lolia, Tabsinta, Ginitsu Sebina, the game of Kibarella, Tsawin, Tata de Guillomardi, Hakbatu, Tachik Chizo Tajan and Lolia, Nitsu Dam and the Pengi, Yon Sebare, the number Tsuki, Tushim Nache, the Nangway, the Ketchum Resamudu, and Ketchu the Susugi, Tanamjun and Kawaii should the you. Matsungene, Shoge Ya Lanche, Choshon Ya Chatse, Yaurumchukubal Ya Chatse, Inja Piche, Chemi Piche, Chow Red, Imbine. Catch the Yaurumbucheki, Call of the Lalena Adri. Do the number going to Yaurumbucheki, Pewaji Imbichan, Pemisai to get Southern Tolia Genki, Lagacho Rest, Call of Nightry. This also symbol Ya Janche. And it the number going to Suzuki Legati Chigidu, Chigimundo, this also Ya Tiwatambina, and Lente Gugiore. Bimado Yan Cabre 직 겨울은 제 칼이야 키체 엔 동영기 토안에 애니 자나 슝기 직 거스고래 내가 지모되디 언주 지도 나로리아 직디 도시 땅에기 내가 내 중부이나 내 자원인 따다 대기 오마래라 학바도 겨울은 제 제팅리아 토보 드라이기 내가 내 제비나 언주 응외네 갑도 들리아 가디 중부이네 언주 응외네 돈졸리아 동len 제과디 내가 전부 레섬기올라 엔 학바도 수승외네 다직 대백이 저zo 나로리 임비네 직 내던 돈조간리아 동len 직 거스고래 ngwese tobe toane keja sevo soyela any jungjur tanda lo shil house ji lo shi mens ji yore tin du galia lo chis na lo ya yang ching ne den direl ya chozo na lo ya lenglong chungu yobi ne re chizo na lo ya kawa lenglong chungu yobi ne sosong ne ya any tezum zawani ne mebe toane denzu tol ya chaza chikap da tul ya gogo khadi chungbi ne se she da any chik karim bi ne sosong ne ya shucho yo she che this way indeed any terrain and the deliata chikarsore susung in the to join the debaton any kejishi did in the chilia zamshagi in samololia to chena situation